Hey, good evening, everybody. Brian Gibbs here, and I want to just take a second to welcome you to this live webinar. We're going to cover some pretty critical stuff on the way marketing is being or should be getting conducted nowadays, because so many things have changed. So we'll wait just a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. So I'll do my best. I see that Daryl's here. I'll do my best not to say what I will do is go ahead and turn on the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and throw those in there as we move along as well. So one more time, welcome to this webinar. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, my name is Brian, and I'm just going to share with you how local business owners like you are absolutely crushing it online using internet marketing and social media to find new prospects. Also, stay in touch with their existing customers and build deeper relationships along the way. Now, how are they doing that? We'll go ahead and click over on this screen and stay with where I am as well. What they're doing is they're utilizing what's called Web 2.0. But before we get into what Web 2.0 is, let's cover a little bit about what Web 1.0 was in the past. Web 1.0 was where you basically went to your computer and put information in. It was kind of like a one-way street. And there was no way to put any of your own information in. What you would do is basically go online and ask a question or go into a forum or something like that and get some information from the various websites, but you wouldn't be able to interact with those sites. Now, what we have is called Web 2.0. That's the era that we've moved into. It's actually more like a two-way street where you're able to have interaction with whoever happens to own the website or controls that property. It's kind of like going to Facebook or somewhere, Twitter, whatever, where you can interact with somebody and actually get a response to a question. So there's a lot more interactivity, and people can now pretty much leave their opinions on things. So the truth is that marketing has really shifted away from that one-way broadcast to more of a multi-point conversation. Now, have you ever gone onto Amazon and before you bought something, you went and looked at the user ratings where people had something to say a little bit about a particular product? And say, for example, you found something that had 1 star out of 5 because Amazon has a 5-star system. Now, if you saw something that had 1-star rating, would you be more or less likely to purchase that? Now, myself, when I'm doing stuff on Amazon, I really do use these ratings, and a 1-star, I'd probably not look at much beyond that. So you might want to actually look at what other people are saying and understand a little bit about the product, get some really good help on the reviews. See, most people are able to put information online, and with that, it can increase your value. It could increase your positioning, and it will make it so when people do find your company online, they feel like they already know you, they already like you, they already trust. There's that relationship that's already built. And you don't have to put a lot of things necessarily in order to make that happen, but there is some work that has to be done. You see, with Google, there are actually over 3.5 billion, with a B, 3.5 billion searches per day. And this means that there are people in your local area looking for information about your business. Now, with that, there are over 3 billion monthly local searches. That means that about 20% of all searches contain local terms. And now let's face it, if you're looking for a pizza place and you live, well, if you live in Burlington, for example, you probably aren't going to look for a pizza place down in Seattle. You're going to look for something in Burlington. So you'd probably type in Burlington Pizza if you didn't already know where Pizza Factory was. Now, with all those people searching, why are local businesses still struggling? There's a reason for that, actually. Local businesses are seeing more competition for customers, for clients. Doctors are having more competition for patients than ever before. And a recent Small Business Administration study reported that local businesses are seeing the largest increase in competition in years. Since 1990, large corporations have eliminated about 4 million jobs, but local businesses, they have about 8 million new jobs. And the number of local businesses has actually increased by about 49% during that time. So in about 25 years, we've doubled, well, not necessarily doubled, we have 50% more businesses for the most part on the local side. That's about 12 million new businesses that are all competing for the same customers. But it actually gets worse. Recent statistics show that even after coming out of these hard economic times we've all experienced the last few years, a lot of local businesses are still struggling to survive, and many will actually go out of business in the next 3 to 5 years. Now, of course, to make matters worse, statistics show that most local businesses are relying on traditional means of advertising to get more clients. And those traditional methods have actually stopped working. Now, think about this. 18% of traditional TV campaigns generate a positive return on investment, a positive ROI. Why is that? It's only 18%. That's because people like me, if they can skip an ad, they will. They'll use TiVo, for example, and skip right over the ads, even on the local level. So more and more people are actually missing the commercials that companies are paying, thousands of dollars for, except maybe at the Super Bowl, of course. Then you have the newspaper. Now, let me ask you a question. If you advertise in the newspaper, do you happen to get the newspaper yourself personally? Now, I'm going to venture a guess and say probably not. And the reason is, or what's going on is 24 out of the 25 largest newspapers in the country have actually experienced record declines in circulation over the past few years. Now, a lot of you know I've been in San Antonio for a long time, and I've actually watched the paper get thinner and narrower. Ad prices have gone up. So companies, that's really what that's showing, is that the newspaper is starting to lose traction. It's going away, and we all know that. A long time ago, I sold subscriptions for the newspaper up in Bellingham. And a lot of times people would ask me, or I would ask them how they're getting the news. And in those early days, some people would say, well, I'm getting my news online. And, we had a little bit of a rebuttal to that. Nowadays, honestly, people really are getting all their news online. So if you're advertising in the paper, though, let me ask you this. Where would I go if I was looking for your ad? Where would I go in the paper to find your ad for your product or service? Now, odds are you probably wouldn't know, because what happens is newspapers put ads in the paper around their articles, around their editorials. It basically, ads are filler space after the articles have already been written. So they just kind of make them fit in where they can. So there's no guarantee exactly where your ad is going to show up. So your customers actually don't know where to go and look on a consistent basis for your ads. Now, let me ask you, how about the Yellow Pages? You know that big, thick yellow book. Now, do you know where yours is right now? Do you even have one in your home or in your office? I'd probably guess that you don't. And if you do, it's probably just used as a doorstop, something to prop open a door. And back when I was a kid, they used to use those to boost up kids at the table. But kind of like the newspaper, it's getting thinner. So now you'd need like 2 or 3 to put a kid up to the table. But, I don't know if you have 2 or 3 phone books in the house. It's getting thinner and thinner. Now, okay, here's my attempt at humor. Do you know why the Yellow Pages are like nursing homes? Sorry about this. It's because usually it's people over the age of 75 that are using them, and they're very expensive. Now, let me ask you this. Is your target market over the age of 75? If they're not, maybe a better way for you to spend your marketing dollars than advertising in the Yellow Pages is doing, there may be better ways than advertising in the Yellow Pages. Now, if you look at the screen here, these are different attempts at advertising. Whether it's Yellow Pages, whether it's the newspaper, whether it's TV advertising, these are all attempts. And there's the other attempted advertising, as well as other methods that local businesses are still trying to use. Now, if you use Valpak or park benches, billboards, or even advertising on the sides of buses, all of these are attempts at advertising. Now, the reason I'm calling them attempts is because these advertisers, they're putting their marketing message where they hope people will see their ad and at the exact time that they need it. And then people have to remember the information. They have to write it down. They have to save it for later. They have to remember that they have it when they're looking for it. So these are really not very efficient ways anymore because people don't write this stuff down. They're looking for something when they're looking for it, not sometime in the future, unless they're doing research. Now, some companies have even gotten so desperate to put ads in where they've got what's called a captive audience. Now, I don't know about you, but the last time I was in a restroom, I didn't exactly have a pen to go through and start writing down information. So anyway, sorry about that. And I got distracted for a second. Find my place on this screen here. So, as we said, local search, there's over 3 billion monthly searches, and 20% of those contain local terms. Now, how do you get your information in front of these people that are actually searching for it? First of all, you have to look at your website, make sure that it has the right information and has the right calls to action, so people will find your website on the first page of the search engines, and that you have the right action for them to take. Your website's just a small part of the equation. Most people think, okay, I've got a website, now people can find me. What was that movie? Field of Dreams. If I build it, they will come. Well, chances are they can't find you because there's so much competition getting your information in front of those people who are actively searching for it. So let's talk about some other ways that may be more effective than worrying about your website. And the first is looking at local and mobile searches. Most local and mobile searches are done utilizing smartphones and navigation systems in cars. 82% of local searches are actually followed by an action. That means that they're going to either come into your store, they're going to make a phone call, send you an email, or just come in and make a purchase straight away. You see, mobile is a gateway for you to develop the most intimate relationship with your customer by adding value to your customer at the right place, at the right time, and in just the right way. Now, how is that? Well, you got local mobile discovery. There are two ways to look at it. One is browser-based local search, and that is if you're using an iPhone, you're going to use Safari, or if you're using an Android, you're going to use Google Chrome. In 2012, Google actually said that 50% of mobile search is local. So that means about 30 billion mobile searches in 2014 took place. You know, all of them were mobile. So how do you get your information to make sure that it gets found? The first thing you need to do is have a mobile website. There's some things to look at from doing this, and most people or most business owners say, well, you know, if I search for my business on my mobile device, my website pops up, and that's good enough so people can actually find it. Now, if you look on the website or at the website on the left, you can see that you'd have to pinch and squeeze and expand and make it to where you can read it, because you're looking at it, you can't read the text. You really only know that it's a vein doctor, but there's no phone number, there's no good call to action, there's no way to find the business. You look at the one on the right, and it's got the call us button where you can click to call right now and actually be on the phone with the business owner. You can click on find us and actually navigate to their location. You can also see that their business hours. Now, Google just in the last few months has actually said, and this is going to happen on April 21st, that if your website is not mobile friendly, you're going to lose search position. So if you've spent a lot of money on search engine optimization or keyword research, all of these things that we've done in the past that worked in the past, they're not going to have any effect. In fact, if a website is not mobile friendly on April 21st, April 22nd, it probably won't be able to be found at all. You certainly won't be found on mobile. That's what's going on. So we've got, what's today, the 6th? So in 15 days, if the site's not mobile friendly, then, well, I don't know where you're going to be found. So as we go on, you know, you look at this and you say 3 out of 5 consumers actually are searching for local businesses using their smartphone. Of those who are searching, the majority of customers will actually abandon a mobile site if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. That's 80%, or yet 86% of responsive mobile websites weigh the same as their desktop versions. Basically, what that is the mobile website that companies are using in a responsive system, it really is their full website. So the mobile phone has to render all of that information. It's really bulky and big. Now, Google reports that 40% of mobile consumers turn to a competitor's site actually after having a bad mobile experience on a website if it was mobile. So you don't want to put yourself in a position to lose customers in competition. You want to put yourself in a position to dominate the competition by being ahead of the curve with a mobile optimized website. And as this says, but wait, there's more. As the knife commercial said, I can't remember what that was, Ginsu or something like that. So when it comes to local mobile search, the next step is to actually look at app-based local search. And this isn't necessarily a mobile app specifically for your business. Mobile consumers actually spend roughly 80% of their time searching on apps for local businesses, according to Nielsen reports. Now, what do you use when you're doing a local search? Do you use a browser or do you use an app? Now, if you're using anything other than Safari or Chrome, odds are you're using an app to search those businesses. You see, about 50% of smartphone owners actually use apps for local search, according to, who is it, comscore.com. Apps like Google Maps, Yahoo, MapQuest, Yellowbook, Yelp, Superpages. Yelp happens to be one of my favorites. Superpages, City Search. If you have a restaurant, it's Urban Spoon. There are hundreds more. Foursquare. So your local business actually has to be listed in these apps for you to have any real good chance for people to find you when they're actually looking. See, today, people have a number of directories walking around in their pocket. So if you had the ability to look instead of just one directory and you had 10 or 15 or 20 to choose from, which would you search in? Which would be the most important for your business to be listed in? The truth is, it wouldn't be important to be listed in all of them, or actually it would be important to be listed in all of them. And that's what these directories are exactly like. It's like walking around with a bunch of phone books in your pocket. See, it's not just good enough to be listed in them. You need to be listed in just the right way. You have to make sure there's certain specific information listed in every single one of them consistently, or you actually might as well not even have any listings, because you're going to be at the bottom of the pile and your competition is going to raise up and stand out above you, and actually all their information is going to get seen. There's actually a really very systematic way, not just to claim each of these directories, but you also need to continually update them, have your customers giving you positive views, and help elevate your listing in the directories. So if you're not claiming these directories and you're not managing what people are saying about you online, who is? That is the question. So mobile search actually equals sales, because 79% of local searches convert into a sale that very same day. Restaurants, it's actually a lot higher than that, and it usually happens within the hour. So one of the best ways to make sure people find you locally is with Google+. Now, if you've gone on Google lately, you search for a type of business in a certain city, a map pops up with a pinpointed business location on it. And Google actually is literally putting your business on the map. Now, what you need to do, whether you're a pizza parlor or a hair care professional, dentist, chiropractor, whatever type of business you're doing, you need to make sure your information can be found on Google+, so that when people do search for information in your city, your business actually will show up. See, this is an example of what Google results page looks like. When you do a search for a business in a city, the map comes up showing you the pinpointed businesses closest to your location. That's where the whole mobile thing really comes into play. It's going to geo-track your phone and pull up all the mobile site or the mobile friendly sites when somebody's actually looking for you. We're in the middle of the Tulip Festival. People are coming in from out of town. They don't all know your business, and if they're looking for your type of business, they can look for it on their phone and come in and do business with you. So this here, what that big red box is called the 7-pack. Now, the top 7 businesses actually get listed in Google in the 7-pack. If you're number 8 or 9, guess what? You don't show up on the page in the 7-pack. And that's why it's so important for your information to be as complete as possible, so you have a better chance of coming up on the first page. Now, how do you do that? On Google Plus, on your Google Plus listing, you need to be sure to include your most basic information, your business address, your phone number, your website. You want to have your clients, your business partners, customers, you want them to leave reviews and comments. So if you're doing a great job, your customers will want to put good reviews about you and the great job that you're doing. And finally, you want to make sure to have photos and videos uploaded as well that give it more power to your Google Plus rankings. These are some of the things you need to do to make sure Google can find you. And the other aspect of this is looking at is the reviews. You notice on this page, there are a few people there that have star reviews and then some that don't. So which ones stand out to you more? The ones with the stars or the ones without the stars? I mean, obviously, I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions here because it's really obvious the ones with stars and the ones with more stars get more notice. So what is it? Simpsonville Dentist up there with 4.9 stars. But O'Malley has 0. They've got 1 review and Total Family has 2 reviews. You need a certain number of reviews to actually get those star ratings. So whenever people hover over that 7-pack, it actually gives them a little bit of a pop-up so they can see, or they can hover over that and it expands. Google Plus page will actually show up. It'll give more information, the address, the phone number, the hours, those star ratings. It'll give the different reviews so people can click on all of that and get all of the different information that's critical to your business and critical to your customers finding you. So that's just one way to get your site to show up on the first page. So when people are saying, well, you know, I need to get on the first page of Google, this is one way to do it. Another way is what's called pay-per-click, not to be confused with pay-per-click, which is what I used to think people said. Pay-per-click, this is using Google AdWords so that you can have your ad show up on the first page. Now, you'll pay a fee every time somebody clicks on the ad. But if we go back to the search we just did and look at the top 3 results are paid searches. Now, they used to not show this, but now people have figured it out. So Google's even put a little yellow marker there that says ad. So you know that those are ads. Now, when you click on it, it actually charges, but if nobody clicks on there, you're just listed at the top of the page and there's no ads, or no charge, I'm sorry. If you look on the right and you see Upstate Smiles, you notice in their ad, they have a star rating, and they're the only one on this page that actually has a star rating. So you want to get your customers to leave those reviews, and they've got 10 reviews on theirs. So they've got really good results with their customers. But you want to get your customers to leave reviews so those star ratings stand out, and people click on that more quickly than they click on the others. Now, we've all heard of social media. There are tons and tons of different sites. And what should you do about it? You know, how do you use social media? What difference does social media even make? Or do you need to use it? Other things we've heard from a lot of businesses, really, who cares? Except that there are 2 billion people online and 93% of customers expect the companies that they're buying from to have some type of social media presence. And 85% of those customers actually expect the companies to interact with them on some type of social media level. So that goes back to that whole two-way street where there's that interactivity going on between customers and business owners. You see, most of the time when people are thinking of social media, though, they're thinking of Facebook and Twitter. The reason is because all of the other places just seem so completely overwhelming. Now, we're going to walk you through how to get the best of the 2 big boys, Twitter and Facebook, on the block, and how the other ones actually factor into the equation. See, what it is, it's all about interconnectivity between all these sources and all the sites and everything you do online that creates an overwhelming presence. It's that interactivity. So let me ask, what do Ashton Kutcher and Ellen DeGeneres, I can say her name, Ellen DeGeneres, actually have in common? I'll give you just a split second to think about that. What it is they have more Twitter followers than the populations of Ireland, Norway, or Panama. You know, if they told everybody on their Twitter feeds to jump to the left, you actually might even feel the earth move just a little bit. Now, of course, that's really an exaggeration, but you get the point. Now, of course, we've also all heard that what happens in Vegas, well, actually stays on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. What if we can identify the hundreds of people in your area actively looking for your information about your product or service? And what if we can position you as an expert? How would you go about doing that? Well, let's look at this. If you needed to buy a drill, what is it you really want? Do you want torque? Do you want variable speed? Or do you want durability? Or do you want a combination of all of them? Actually, what we found is most people who are buying drills really don't want any of those things. What they really want is they want to be able to just drill a hole. See, the simple thing is you want to be able to teach people how to make the hole. And by teaching them how to make the hole, if you happen to sell drills, it would lead you, or would lead them to buying a drill from you. Now, of course, this is an oversimplistic approach, but it's exactly what you need to do whenever it comes to marketing or to your marketing message. Whenever you're dealing with people online, the more you can share with them, the more you can help them understand not only your product and service, but exactly how working with you will help them achieve exceptional results. And what that does is turns more business into, or turns them into you getting more business. You see, all this happens with a real simple 4-step process. The first step is making that connection. They have to find you online to be able to connect with you in the first place. The second is you have to provide them some content, whether that's on your website, whether it's on social media. No matter where it is, you have to give them some kind of content in order to make a decision whether you are the person they want to do business with or not. Now, after that, you have to capture their information because without that, there's really no way for you to continue the conversation. And once you've done these 3 things, I accidentally clicked the button one too many times, but you build that know, like, and trust factor I mentioned earlier. And then, and only then, actually, can you collect money from them. You need to go through this process. Now, when we talk about social media, the biggest player on the block is Facebook. Now, why is that? It's because there are over 1 billion people who use it. So since everyone is there, it's also where you need to be. Now, if you look at this, you look at Coca-Cola, and you look at the Coca-Cola fan page, you figure out it's not even owned by Coca-Cola, surprisingly. See, if you have a business, if you have a brand, somebody's going to be saying something about you, whether it's you or them. Somebody's saying something about you. So you want to get control of that as soon as you possibly can. See, like I said, this isn't even owned by Coca-Cola. This is owned by a couple of guys who just happen to be really big fans of Coke. In fact, Coca-Cola, when they discovered this, they were going to sue these guys to stop them from running this fan page. Then as Coke went through the site, they actually discovered that they really liked it and went ahead and left them alone because these guys were doing all of Google or all of Coca-Cola's sales and advertising for them. And if you look at this, there are over 90 million people who like this page. So what does this do for you, and how can you as a business owner work with this? If you look at this page, it's for a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. There are some things you can notice here. One of the things is he's not continuing to push his business and a bunch of advertising down your throat. You can do that a little bit, but follow like the 80-20 rule on this. where 80% of what you're putting out on Facebook or even Twitter, but we'll just stick with Facebook, 80% is content, and then the other 20% can be advertising. You want to be able to engage people and give them something of value. There are some other things you actually want to do in order to make it so you're promoting the solution rather than promoting yourself too. One of the things that Dr. Pearlman does here, if you look across at the banner ad or the banner at the top, you see really nice, fair skin. You know, they're advertising indirectly. It's kind of a soft sell of what people are looking for out of a plastic surgeon. They're looking for that nice, smooth skin and you know, whatever perfection they're looking for there. And then if you look at his picture, it's not even a picture of Dr. Pearlman, it's a picture of a really pretty lady. And every single time they post something new or that gets shared, then that picture is showing up. It's showing what people are actually looking for. Now, other things to look at is the About Us section. Dr. Pearlman, he doesn't just put words on this. He has a video that goes in and welcomes people to his page and kind of shares with them exactly what they're going to be getting from visiting on his page. And then, as I mentioned before, the information he's sharing, it's not just about plastic surgery procedures. It's about other things that people are looking to get out of for just general health. In this case, here's a video that's showing how to use almond milk as the best form or best type of milk, I'm sorry, for weight loss. So it doesn't just say, buy my stuff, buy my services, come into my store. It's important to share information that people can use and find useful, whether they choose to do business with you or not. And in Dr. Pearlman's case, there are actually over 109,000 people who actually like Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery. That's quite a few. Now, another thing you can do with Facebook, which is relatively new, is you can actually have a Facebook store. Now, when people come to your page, they can not only interact with you, but they can click an icon, then go and buy things straight from you off of Facebook. So if you're in business where you sell actual physical items, this could be a great way to have people come and buy from you without them even coming into your store. You can also advertise on Facebook and Facebook ads. The difference with pay-per-click on Google and doing it here on Facebook is you can actually really target your prospects here. So let's say, for example, that you're a wedding photographer and you're setting up an ad. What might you do? Okay, so wedding photographer could put their ad in front of a bunch of people who are walking around with a big sign around their neck that said, "I'm engaged." That would probably be a pretty good prospect audience to get your ad in front of. And that's what you can do exactly dead on with Facebook. A photographer might first pick women, of course, and then pick women who are engaged, and then target it even more and pick women who are between the ages of 24 and 30. So this gives them a very effective strategy, a very low cost, a very cost-effective way of getting people to see their message. Now, these ads show up on the right-hand side. It's similar to the way the Google AdWords works, where you've got the ad, but you've also got an image. Now, we all know that everything on Facebook is all about the pictures, so you're able to put an image along with the description of your ad that would then allow them to click on it and go wherever you want to send them. It also shows that if you have friends who like the business that's being advertised too. So it'll actually, what's that, under the social media one on the right, it says Brian Moran likes this, or the pre-order, the one above that is Chris Evans. So if you've got friends who like that, it'll actually put their name in there as well. These these ads really, they're similar. Like I said, they're similar to Google AdWords on the right. But if you look at the one in the middle, it's what's called a newsfeed ad, and that you can actually have a little bit more content, but it also gives people the opportunity to like it or comment on it or share it. You can see all the thumbs up in the comments and the shares that this particular ad got. And just like Google, you're not paying until somebody actually clicks on the ad. So you're not going to get paid or get charged a fee until somebody actually does click on it. The impressions, the number of times people see it, doesn't count against you. I've had ads that, might be clicked on 150 times, say, for example, but have been looked at or seen 1,200 times. So I'm still getting those exposures, whether or not people are clicking on it. So it works out in my favor. More people are seeing it and less money's coming out of my pocket. Now, here's how precise you can actually get with Facebook ads. So if we go back to the idea of Dr. Perlman and the plastic surgeon, let's say he wanted to run a really targeted ad. He's looking to put that ad up, and he could set the geography to stay within 30-mile radius of his office, so he can be, not go any further out than that. He can select age ranges between 35 and 60. He could select only women. He could select women who are married and who have a college education. He can define their interests. They can do fitness and wellness along with shopping and fashion. He can look at behaviors like health and beauty, cosmetics, vitamins, spa treatments. Look at their income if they're making $75,000 plus a year, and if they're homeowners. So this type of exact demographic gives this plastic surgeon the best chance for making sure that his ads show up in front of the people, the types of people who are going to be most likely interested in his services. Not only that, but after they click on the ad and see his information, he can drop what's called a pixel. It's a tiny little tag on their computers. You may have noticed this, which allows the ad to follow them around. So if you've noticed, sometime if you go to a website and then go back to Facebook, a lot of times or often the exact same information that was up on that ad is showing up on Facebook. And what happens whenever they click on that is that little pixel gets dropped on their computer. It's called retargeting. So the ad kind of follows people around, and the more people see your ad, the more likely they are to eventually click on it and buy from you. Now, the other big boy on the block is Twitter. And some people think Twitter really is just a big fat waste of time. But you don't want to tell that to this guy because he'd probably have a different statement. Curtis Kimball, he owns this little cart, or owned this little cart. It's a creme brulee cart in San Francisco. Now, he started this creme brulee cart and joined Twitter in about 2009. See, Curtis understood that about 53% of people on Twitter recommend companies or their products or their the products in their tweets. Now, what difference did it make for Curtis? See, he started off with just that one little creme brulee cart that he would set up on different places, different corners, different days of the week in San Francisco. And then he would tweet out his location, and that's how people had to find where he was so they could go and taste his creme brulee. Well, since then, what's happened? If you look at his Twitter page now, he has over 23,000 followers. He's grown from a little cart to 3 full-blown food trucks. Now they're stationed all around the city at different places, different times around San Francisco. And he still uses the same strategy that he did before when he started to grow his business. So it really makes sense for businesses to be using Twitter. As a business owner, you can customize Twitter and share some information with people just like you can on Facebook. Twitter is another area where you can share that info. And why would you want to even do this? It's because obviously the more places that your information shows up, the more powerful it makes your overall online presence, and the more it elevates you in the eyes of search engines and even your prospective customers. Now, what other things can you do to position yourself as an expert? Because that's what this is all about. You know, we can advertise and tell people that we're the best, or we can demonstrate it and show people that we're the best. Now, one thing is to look at your business and look at things from your customer's point of view, not just from your point of view. And that's what happens a lot of times with us as small business owners, is we're so into our brand and so into our business that we look at it from, you know, myopically from one point of view, and that's our own. So we just assume that this is how everybody else is going to see it. But people right now, they're actually going online to get answers to questions. And how can you answer the questions? Well, you know, there are numbers of ways. One way is to create videos that answer questions people are looking for. I mean, this is a perfect example. This chiropractor, he answered the question, what is the popping sound whenever I crack my neck or crack my back? Now you can see that this video has over 100,000 views, and is actually, this guy was actually contacted by the TV show The Doctors to talk about the use of social media and growing his practice. And when people go online, less than 15% of people go online and look and purchase through online advertising, but over 90% of people will purchase through their peer reviews. They believe their peers over the advertising, and that's pretty common. I mean, I don't know about you. I do that. I look and see what my friends and what other people who are looking at those products are saying about them, and that actually really sways my decision. Going back to that Amazon screen, I looked at some stuff that I just bought recently and looked at the reviews before I bought it. And then I got the products, and you know, they were pretty good. They were pretty consistent. So when people go, you know, and look for things, they find stuff online, and of course, since it's online, it's true, right? Probably not. That reminds me of that commercial. I can't remember what it was for, but it was all about, well, I saw it online, so it's got to be true. My boyfriend, he's a French model, you know, and obviously he was neither of those. So how do you attract people to your business? One way, as I said, you can provide them content using YouTube. YouTube's actually now the second largest search engine there is, just behind Google, who actually owns YouTube. So what do you make your videos about? Because you really should be doing videos. You help people find answers to their questions. You help them answer frequently asked questions. And if you're a business owner, you know the questions that people frequently ask. The other is you answer questions that people should be asking, so should ask questions as well. And by doing that, it just gives people more reason to, you know, get to know you and understand you and want to do business with you. So whenever you create your video, there are a few things you need to do in order to give it the best chance of being found. And one video optimization technique is to make sure that your domain name, make sure your website is in the description of your videos, so that when people come to it, they don't have to hunt around and look and peck and search. They can just actually click right on the link, and it takes them directly to your website. So if you look at this example, this is a first page search result for pre-owned sports cars. And you can see the video shows up on the first page of the search results. And if you look, where do your eyes get drawn to? They get drawn to a couple of places. One is in the top right corner where you see the Shelter Logic enclosure kit. And then the other is the video on the left-hand side that says buying a pre-owned sports car critical tip. What this is it's a video of the car dealer telling you the most important thing to know whenever you're buying a car. And if you're looking at buying a pre-owned exotic car, what do you want to know? Well, probably what are the things that you need to look for in order to get the best deal, and that's what this video will answer for you. So once you have the video done and you put it on YouTube, you've got a lot of other places to go to. See, remember, the more places we put our information, the better chance of people actually finding it. So we look at this idea of systematic distribution. You can put your video on different social bookmarking sites. You can put it on different social networks like Facebook. You can put it on your blog. You can put it on podcasts. You can make the podcast out of it. You can put it on podcast directories, different video sites. Believe it or not, there's actually more than just YouTube that have videos and host those videos for people. So imagine this right now. If you're not showing up online, people can't find you. What if your information was to show up in front of 200 to 300 people every month, or possibly every day, that are searching for you and they can't find you? What would happen then? Do you think there's any chance that any of them would choose you over your competition if they could find you? And if they did, are you in a position where your information is set up so that if they do find you, they would be able to know what call to action you wanted them to make? Would they be in a position to actually be able to contact you to do business with you? Or is your information not going to give them what they need, so they end up going to your competition instead? See, all of these steps, all of them combined, become really powerful for you as a local business. Now, just imagine having all these things put in place, what it would do for you. What would it look like? See, to begin with, here's the advantage of online marketing for a local business. First, it makes you credible. It can increase your referrals. You're able to build new relationships. You can demand higher prices because now you're an expert. It gives you outstanding visibility. It builds familiarity, brand familiarity. It allows you to create trust. You can offer your products and services, and you get perceived as the expert. And what if all of this, or what does all of this combined do for you? So what it does is it actually keeps you on top of mind with every person who sees your information. And that's the best chance of success that you can have, is being the first person they think of whenever they think of your product or service. So what do you need to do now? The next step is to integrate all of these elements so that they amplify each other. Use search engines, use video, use social media, and mobile marketing. But there's a lot of stuff. I mean, that is a lot of stuff. So you can do it with zero work on your part, or you can do all the work on your part. But of course, it's overwhelming. So what you can do is let us put together a blueprint for you. You need to have that blueprint for exactly what's going to happen and how these things are going to be implemented. What we'll do is we'll actually do a complete marketing assessment to determine what elements are the right ones for you. We'll help figure out what's the best way based on what you're doing right now for your specific location. We'll help you with where to get started, what sites need to be utilized first, because there's actually prerequisites that have to be done before the other steps can even be taken. And if it's done in the wrong way, if these things are done in the wrong way, it can actually have a detrimental impact to your overall marketing plan. And we can work on how to build incrementally. So if you flood all the sites with your information all at once, Google will see this irregularity and actually flag your website, not giving you all the credit that you deserve. And if you're doing it in the right order, over the right period of time, and the timing is really critical, it builds the credibility, positions you higher than you probably could have done if you do it in the wrong order. So we're going to show you how to do this with zero extra work on your part. See, you're busy running your business. You probably have enough going on without having to worry about going online for hours, monitoring and updating a bunch of different sites. Your work is actually better suited serving your customers, and that's where your value is. So the last thing is we'll set up a plan so you're able to measure your results, and this is what you'll see. So all the new customers that are coming in and all the new contacts that are happening, billions, you're wise enough to implement and utilize the most powerful technology since TV commercials, and it's all available to you right now. So question would be then, what's the next step? How do you get started? What I want to do is go ahead and I'll turn off this screen sharing. I'll bring up my camera so you can actually see that I'm really here and just rambling on. Let's see here, put over in the chat, I want to put in a link for you. If you want to set up an appointment, we can chat and go over, not necessarily to sell anything, but just go over how your strategies are going right now. So just type this in really quickly. It's not .com, it's set4.com book appointment. So you can click on that and actually set up an appointment if you want. And if you don't, that's okay as well. So want to just thank you for your time and joining me tonight. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email or give me a call, or go ahead and go onto that site and schedule an appointment. So I thank you for your time and wish you all a good night.